My project is on Asian representation in film and television. My first slide is about Dave, racial accents, Hollywood casting, and Asian American studies. Dave goes into the brown voice stereotype. The brown voice stereotype serves as a racializing characteristic that suggests both foreignness and familiarity in a U.S. context, a familiar way of representing the unfamiliar. The most infamous brown voice is Abu from The Simpsons. Abu from The Simpsons is voiced by Hank Azaria, a white man, and the accent is very heavy and stereotypical. It is not representative of real life scenarios of many Indians in America, but because of this accent, people believe that this is what all Indian people are like, and it set back a lot of Indian people, and it was very hurtful and not true. And another accent that was not needed was Jan Yang. He's a Silicon Valley actor, and in this, the real life actor is Asian American, does not have an accent. But in the TV show, he has a very heavy accent to represent he is foreign and to make the white viewers more comfortable with foreignness. My next slide deals with Master of None, Indians on TV. And this episode kind of dealt with what Dave wrote about. In this episode, Deb struggles with being forced to use brown voice in auditions to appease the white majority. And a noticeable quote I took away from the show is, "There can't be two Indians on a television show." That's what Dev was told by the studio head. And it just shows that these actors are being forced to use these accents in order to gain roles, while really there's no reason for them to have such heavy accents next to just appease the white majority of studio heads and casting directors. And it is something that needs to change, and it's something that many actors struggle with. My third slide is on Dyer stereotyping. Dyer defines stereotypes as beyond normalcy and excluded by the arbitrary rules of acceptability. White cisgenders are the group in power. They enforce stereotypes for own dominance and make it seem natural. And some of the stereotypes white cisgenders have enforced are the Indian stereotypes of comedic relief. Many Indian characters in television or film are used for comedic relief. They're for jokes and gags, but there's very little character development and they're very shallow. In film and television, Indians are also portrayed as store clerks and gas station workers, and theirs is a very big stereotype that is not accurate for all Indians. And some of these stereotypes, Chinese mom's face is the tiger mom. These are moms that are strict, disciplined, and are very on their kids, but this is not a very accurate representation of all Chinese moms, just a select few that is exploited and stereotyped. My fourth slide is on Faustina M. Ducrot, Asian American and Pacific Islanders on TV. A significant quote I read was, "Representation on television is significant because it can affect our sense of cultural citizenship, the extent to which a group belongs to a common understanding of what is American." Negative stereotypes regarding people of color on television are associated with white people's negative public opinions of those respective groups. Asian characters in television are less likable than white characters. And I just believe at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a lot of Asian hate and Asian hate crime. And I feel like the stereotypical versions of Asian people we see in television and movies definitely did not help alleviate some people's hatred toward Asians. I think everyone in the industry is responsible to get away from these stereotypical versions of people and show the true people they are. And I feel like if this happened, there'd be much less Asian hate and much less hate crimes towards Asians. Continuing on what Faustina M. Ducrot said, amid increasingly visible anti-immigrant sentiment and white nationalism, an overly white representation of American society is a huge cause for concern. While AAPIs are effectively erased from television culture, it undermines our exposure to the true diversity of American society. And this is basically a response to the whitewashing of shows that take place in very diverse areas. Fuller House takes place in San Francisco, and Grey's Anatomy takes place in Seattle, and both these shows have a very large Asian population in the cities they take place in, yet there's a very big lack of diversity in their cast. I wanted to end off my project with some really positive examples of Asian American representation in television. Master of None by Aziz Ansari, Fresh Off the Boat, and The Mindy Project on Fox are all three really great representations of Asians in film and television.